rare bookstores, used bookstores like ours, become kind of treasure hunts. People come in, if they're looking for something specific, they often will find it. But I think more often than not, people happen to be just looking to see what catches their eye. And the beauty of a used bookstore in general is that there are so many things that are to be discovered. So coming into a shop like ours, people find things. Of course, there's with any given store, there's a certain ambiance, and we're particularly proud of what we've developed here, because it's got a lot of the charm of what people have in their minds of what a used bookstore should look like, even though there are fewer and fewer of them. But we've also tried to make it so it's unlike the historic picture of a used bookstore, which is books from floor to ceiling piled everywhere and anywhere in no particular manner. We've tried to make it a little easier to find things and make sure it's a pleasant experience, not too overwhelming. We're in such a beautiful area in the Hudson Valley that people come to New Paltz to be right here, to be in the village, and the store, given that is kind of a centerpiece of the village, certainly is an attraction. But beyond that, I think it's that people also come here on their way somewhere else. So I see New Paltz as kind of a little bit of a crossroads town where people are coming through on their way perhaps to the Mountain House or perhaps other places in the Catskills or who knows where. But they kind of wander in and find the beauty and the charm of a quaint village that looks much like people would imagine it would have looked 50 years ago. So that becomes an attraction in and of itself, and we're proud to be a part of that. Typewriters are a decent seller for us. The first typewriter we had, I happened to, it was about 7 or 8 years ago. I found it an antique shop, I think. Anyway, it was called a Woodstock typewriter. The only reason I bought it is that it was a typewriter that said Woodstock. So I thought it would be a fun display piece, because we like having little antiques and little things related to writing around the store. So I bought it as mostly a display piece, but it sold. And what we did after that sold is we just kept buying typewriters, and we've sold a fair number of them. It's not it's not what we're all about, but it is part of what we're about. So it's a steady seller. People like the charm of them. They're collectible, and I think one of the reasons they're collectible today is they really speak to a very different age than the keyboard age that we live in now, or the digital age. So that it really gives a different feeling for writing and what went into writing than say what most of us are accustomed to working on a computer. So we like having the typewriters because they really give a certain aura to the shop that I think is very literary, but also historic and important. It's interesting, a lot of kids come in and they're fascinated with them. Kids like to pound on things and check things out. So for some, I'd say for some younger kids, they come in and they're really taken with them in terms of just, there's a certain magical quality with a typewriter. After all, some of them are 50 to 100 years old and they still work. So it's it's a very cool kind of thing. We sell a fair number of the posters, especially to college students, especially at the beginning of the school year. Hundreds of them sell. So I don't know in terms of number of sales if it's the biggest. It's probably close to our biggest item that you would classify as unique in some way. When a parent brings in their young child and just sits in the back and spends a few minutes reading to them, that they find a quiet spot to sit down and read and enjoy a book together. It's a very it's not that we necessarily will sell a book to them, but that it just is a place that people connect to, and that it speaks to the literary or the heritage of the written word, that it's still alive and well.